Good evening. I hear. Oh, I'm sorry. Apparently, we are a minute and change over, Kenneth. I think we'll have to pay them the difference, which is exactly nothing. So,
It's true.
good evening. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
You know what? I was just running late because I got my Earl Grey lukewarm. I wanted to be on time for y'all, but I needed to stay awake because there are small people in my house that keep me up. So I had Earl Grey, not hot, but lukewarm, and that kept us a little late. But we're good. How are you doing?
Good. Went trick or treating tonight, of course,
This is
and
outrageous.
got some. I didn't get any candy because I'm not having any right now, but everybody else got candy, and so we went to a local neighborhood and had a good time. I was thinking about this today. I was like, what if I was like, a 51-year-old that didn't have kids or grandkids and I wanted candy on Halloween? What would I do?
How tall are you?
Me, I'm 5'10".
Okay, you can do it. If you were like, say, 4'11", maybe you could just dress up as an old man, right?
That's actually a good thought. I wasn't thinking that route, but
Yeah,
what I was thinking of is all you really need is a baby stroller.
a baby. Oh,
Just a baby stroller. So if you have a baby stroller, who's going to question you? And you go around and with a bucket and get candy.
and with these days, you just have something like this playing for an hour of just baby sounds.
That could work too. I was thinking, yeah, that's and along with that, either a doll. If you don't have a doll, just get a wooden fireplace log and wrap it in a blanket, stick it in the baby stroller.
These days, you could probably just put a dog in the stroller.
Yeah. Although my dogs are a little big for that, but if you had a small dog or a cat, maybe wrap them up, tie them up so they can't move. You can do that too and get as much candy as you want.
Oh man, if you're gonna own the creeper, that's how you do it. You just like, hey, I'm gonna I'm gonna fake a child and walk around and get a bag of candy. Okay, so when you were trick or treating, what did you use as your bag?
Man, I don't remember.
So did you ever use the pillowcases because they could carry more?
I was just thinking I might have used a pillowcase at one point because you can definitely get more. Plastic bag you can't get really as much in, so that kind of rings a bell. I might have used a pillowcase or something like that would have done the trick.
So when I was in school, we were in Dare. Did you guys do Dare when you were in school?
I remember Dare.
It's against drugs, right?
Yeah.
And so Dare would give you like a "Don't do drugs, kid" candy bags.
Yeah.
So we did that, and then do you remember the McDonald's trick or treating buckets they used to do like every year from the 80s into like the early 2000s?
Yeah.
They just brought those back.
Did they?
Yeah. I mean, they were not like how they were when we were kids. You'd get them with the kids meal.
Yeah.
They'd be the kids meal box. Now it's for an extra $20 some odd, you can get the bucket.
Well, for that, I can just go buy my own candy.
Seriously. That's what I'm doing tomorrow. We're going to go and get, we're going to get, I'm going to go buy the bags of just Reese's. Now,
at this point, you could buy it for probably half price.
Well, we established last week that Reese's are the best candy. I think that was your S tier candy.
Absolutely.
And
the Easter egg ones too. At Easter, they have the Reese's eggs. Those are the peanut butter eggs. Those are really good.
And you should be happy because all that trash candy corn no one will buy.
Yeah. Well, this year I haven't eaten any candy because I'm fasting from sweet stuff still. So I've abstained. So it's been tempting though. I'll tell you what. I've been doing this for like a month now, trying to lose a few pounds, and my cholesterol's a little elevated. as my doctor told me like 3 years ago. So I've decided to finally start doing something about it. And so, but for some reason, my wife thinks it's funny to bake cookies and cinnamon rolls and stuff like that. And I'm like, what are you doing to me? And a few days ago, I come home and I go in the kitchen and there's 2 giant boxes, like the family size boxes of Golden Grams on the counter. I'm like, that's like my favorite. I'll eat that for, not even for breakfast, for any time. So the cookies, I was fine with. I stayed away from them. The cinnamon rolls, I stayed away from. Those Golden Grams have been on my mind for the last 3 days. I'm not kidding. I'll be like out on a job site. I'm thinking about those Golden Grams. I have abstained. I have not touched them. One of the boxes is gone. I didn't eat it, but the other one is still there, and I can see it in my mind right now. But I think I've made progress, so I'm kind of proud of myself that I've been able to come this far and stay away from that. So hopefully it continues. We'll see.
Yeah, but I have the worst sweet tooth. Like, oh man. And it's not like for gummy. I just want chocolate. That's all I want.
Yeah. And I'm into the chocolate stuff, or like the fruity candy. Like I said before, Skittles. I'm not a fan of that sort of stuff. But the chocolate stuff. When I was in school as a little kid, you bring your lunch to school, and then you trade with other people at lunchtime. Yeah. I would manage to get like everybody's sweet things. So I would have like 6 sweet things, and all my good food is gone, and I'm just eating the sweet things, which is not good. But I used to wheel and deal it all the time because I couldn't get away with it.
I love chocolate. I get it. So I have a friend who's right now he just left London. So he's getting me a bunch of British chocolate, which I don't know if you've ever had British chocolate. It is head over heels better than American chocolate. It's smoother, it's creamier, it's just better altogether. And I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, as far as Halloween goes, we didn't do anything today. We got company coming in. It's just too busy. But so I got to ask, what did you watch this week? Did you play any games? Did you watch anything? Any songs stick in your head that I need to know about? Did you do your homework basically as well?
Wow, there was a song. Oh, I did my homework. Oh yes, I did my homework. But there was a song that's sticking in my head. Well, I guess I heard it to somebody. There was a guy at the Halloween thing playing live music. I didn't realize it was live until we came up with oh, that's actually live. He sounds good, and had his stuff all set up. So my daughter and I were making up our own words to the song.
As one would.
Yes, of course, And so, but no, I'm trying to think besides we watched tonight after trick-or-treating, we watched Disney's newer version of the Haunted House, the Haunted Mansion. And, it's basically just rehashing what's already been done. Just
Eddie Murphy one?
A little bit.
Is that Eddie Murphy?
No, it's not Eddie Murphy.
Okay.
Some new people. I can't even remember their names. Vivica A. Fox is in there. And then there's a few. Golly, what's the guy's name? It's going to drive me nuts. I can't think of his name. But he's been in other movies, and he was in wow, I'm having a brain cramp. He was in the movies with Night at the Museum movies. He played one of the characters. The guy with long blonde hair, kind of dopey.
Okay, somebody said New England said Danny DeVito.
Well, he was in it too. That's not who I'm thinking of.
Okay.
No, it's not. It's no. He's saying it's not the Dumber and Dumber guy. It's not. It's not Jeff Daniels.
Owen Wilson is what?
Yes.
Okay.
Owen Wilson in it. And a few other people. I mean, it's not bad, but it's just a more modern version of what they already did before. But it's the funny thing is it's not. Of course, the original one wasn't either. Not really a kids movie. I wouldn't let my little kids watch that. They'd be up with nightmares. Some of the stuff they have in there, but
yeah. Well, I remember Eddie Murphy did a Haunted Mansion ride movie, and it was a flop, but that was one that he did. I want to say 10, 11. It was a while ago.
Okay.
So that's why I was with him.
I like the Haunted Mansion ride at Disney. That's always a fun ride.
Yeah.
Fun thing to go through.
Last Halloween, Disney put out a Muppets Halloween movie, which actually was pretty good, if I recall correctly.
I don't know if I've seen that one. We might have to look at that.
We're going to have a conversation about the Muppets at some point, because I actually think the Muppets Christmas Carol, which we can start talking about. Well, I'll start talking about it now, but for you, I can talk about it tomorrow. It's one of the best Christmas movies that's ever been made, the Muppets Christmas Carol. But we'll get there.
Yeah.
But okay, yeah. So what did we do? We watched. So yesterday I went to a Jeremy Camp concert. Okay. Which he's really good live. The people I went with were like, it was a little loud for me. I was like, man, and I was telling them like, nope, I'm here for it. I like the sound. He's gotten better as he's gotten older.
Huh.
He was the first like contemporary Christian artist I ever listened to when I became a Christian. I didn't even know that there was Christian music like this. I always thought it was hymn books and stuff like that, and hymns are fine. But I didn't know that there was something like that. And he was great. I want to say I've seen him. I've seen Skillet. I've seen David Crowder. I've seen
Skillet. I've seen David Crowder. I've seen Michael W. Smith.
I heard he's awesome.
Yeah, Stephen Curtis Chapman. The two of them were together, doing the concert together. Yeah, I mean, if you can sing live and it sounds good, that means you got talent. You don't have electronics fixing your voice for you. So that's always a good test to see if you can actually sing live. If it sounds good, and when you're there, there's nothing between you and the audience at that point.
Let's see. We watched the movie we were going to watch together, Martian. Watched that. We'll get into that in a little bit. I have to apologize, but not really to our listeners. Elena and I watch anime, and so there's an anime called Spy Family, which I'm probably going to have to do my required watching for you at some point. And it is actually really good. It's about he's a spy he's like from West Germany and East Germany, and he has to pretend to become a dad. So he adopts a little girl, and he fakes a marriage, and the woman he marries is also pretending because she's an assassin, and they both are faking their marriage so no one suspects them, but they don't know that one's a spy and the other's an assassin. And this little girl, it knows the truth for both of them, and all of them are like hiding the secret. And it's a story on how they slowly are becoming a real family without thinking about it. It's actually really touching.
Is it a musical?
No. It's not a musical. Okay. Though I will say the music in it, like they have like the background stuff, is actually pretty good.
Okay.
It's got that like spy mid-century spy old James Bond type style.
Okay.
Kind of cool. We watched that. We watched been listening to Christmas music. Yeah. So we've been doing the Christmas cantata practice at church. And I have been singing Christmas music for about 3 weeks now, and I have been chomping at the bit for Christmas. We will be putting up our Christmas tree
tomorrow
or next Friday. If we didn't have company in town, our Christmas tree would have been going up tonight.
I'll bet.
I am
one behind you right now.
Oh, well, there will be something back here. When we were driving today, I saw a car with reindeer ears on it already. I've seen at least 4 houses where there are Christmas lights on. And I've seen wreaths on doors already.
Snowbirds are coming back, so I think some of that's coming with them. They brought the cold with them, and they're bringing early Christmas with them too. So,
but you know what? This cold front kept that hurricane off of us.
Oh yeah, I'm not complaining about the cold front. That's for sure. I mean, it's been. I don't mind a few chilly days here and there, And I'm definitely glad we had that, because that storm was nasty.
That was a Category 5.
Yeah. This late in the
That's
season. That's crazy.
Yeah. And then, of course, we're playing a couple games right now. The game I'm playing, I'm into RPGs because here. So let me see if you like this logic. Let me see what you think. A movie for 5 people is gonna cost you $100 these days.
Yeah.
I can buy a video game with a story that I can probably get 100 hours out of if I do everything in it for $60. A movie's going to maybe at the top end be 3 hours. I think playing a video game that's an RPG, which has a story, is better money spent than going to the movies these days. 100 hours of entertainment.
I've done Halo 2 through the story.
Yeah.
You got to turn the audio off because they get mouthy on there. Turn the audio off, you're fine. And I've played it with my sons through the game with both my sons individually. And I don't, however many days we did that over, you just do a section. Okay. We got to this one, and then another day go back and do another section. It's a lot of fun, and yeah, you can spend a lot of time on those things, and yeah, and then you can turn around and do it again, so it's
like dollar to dollar. It just is a better expense at this point until movies are really come back.
Yeah. These movies are way too much. In the theater, unless it's really, really good. Yeah, I'm really, really excited about it. I'm not going to go to the theater. I'll wait till it comes out. But
well, we'll go through the theater for these lovely people. That's the plan.
Of course.
But
I think that's a good segue, though, don't you?
Yeah. I think that's a great way we can move into it. So we got today.
I'm excited.
So we're gonna talk about a couple of things. So I, of course, part of our thing is we like to review films. We talk about kind of cultural stuff like that. But what I did to Ken last week was he and I keep challenging each other to watch films. So you can see with my name, I put it in there, David Bowie knife. A little Halloween, but also a little bit of mental torture. So I challenged Ken to watch Wicked. Now, Ken, had you known anything about that film before I challenged you to watch it?
I did not. So when I'm kind of, I think that works out good. In fact, my wife took some video of my reaction.
I got to put that up.
So in my mind, I'm getting this mental, okay, I kind of have an idea what it's going to be about, right? But I didn't really know. And the first thing I saw was, wait a minute, this thing's almost 3 hours. And I was really caught off guard. And, I was a little, I think it was last Friday night, because we podcasted last Thursday. And so at the end of the week, I'm a little tired, and that just caught me off guard. And I was genuinely angry. Like, I have to watch a 3-hour movie that's going to be dumb. So, and I was like, all right, I'll be fine, because a lot of times Friday night, I don't want to have to concentrate on anything. At that point, I just want to sit down, watch something I don't have to really pay attention to, try to unwind. So this was like, my wife's like, well, why don't we watch it now? I'm like, okay, let's just do it. When I put it on, I'm like, oh my word, I can't believe this. So anyway, that's what led into that. But yeah, this movie adapted from the play,
which is adapted from a book.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it came out in 2024. It grossed, it brought in, let's see, it cost $145 million to make. Okay. And it brought in worldwide $756.4 million the time I pulled this up, which blows my mind.
So it made money. It made a lot of money.
How could something, and here's the thing, I looked up other reviews too, because I want to see, not that I really care, because I'm going to think what I think, but what does everyone else think? And most of the reviews that I saw were good. And then there were some that were like, okay, that guy gets it. That person gets it. Yeah, it was horrible. I don't know if it's just because it's a specific genre. It's this musical, and no matter what comes out, you're going to be like, okay, I like it because of this, whatever. I don't know if that's what it is, but I was amazed at how well this movie did. I pulled up the cast on this movie. You got Cynthia Erivo, I guess that's how you say it. Ariana Grande, Jonathan Bailey, Ethan Slater, Bowen Yang, Peter Dinklage, Michelle Yeoh, and Jeff Goldblum.
I know some of those names.
Yeah. So Michelle Yeoh was in Star Trek Discovery.
Okay.
She actually played two different characters, kind of mirrors of each other. Of course, Jeff Goldblum, he's a common name. And I like him as an actor. I do, for the most part. I think he's a likable guy.
Yeah, he's funny.
But let me I actually put together an actual written review for this because I thought this was deserving. So I'm going to go ahead and read it now. My review of Wicked. I have seen my share of musicals both on the screen and in live performances, believe it or not. I have even seen some a live performance of The Wizard of Oz, which included a wonderful buffet. I thought that the performance was interesting and overall pretty good for a musical. Musicals overall are not my favorite, but if I'm going to watch a musical, a live performance is the way I would prefer to see it. To see the actors perform with no safety net, no way to hide a mistake, unlike being in front of a camera that can take and retake a shot as many times as it takes. So I do have a limited appreciation for musicals. So now let me give you my review of the movie version of Wicked. Wicked tries to expand on a classic children's movie, The Wizard of Oz, and tell the backstory of some of the main characters. Glenda the White Witch, Elphaba the Wicked Witch, and the Wizard of Oz himself. The main flaw in this idea is that the land of Oz does not actually exist. Of course, we know it doesn't exist. But I'm talking about in the Hollywood land of make-believe, the land of Oz never actually existed. The land of Oz and everything in it was nothing more than a figment of Dorothy's imagination, the product of a dream that she had out of delirium. So how can there be a backstory for characters from a dream? Besides that obvious question, the original movie, The Wizard of Oz, already gives a backstory to these characters. Every character in the original movie represented someone real in her life as a farm girl. So right off the bat, this movie makes no sense. Wicked takes this classic children's story and successfully drags it through the mud of wokeness, inappropriate sexual content, and political correctness. A typical left-wing production. Another victim of the LGBTQ, animal activists, and woke hijacking. You can tell I love this movie. These activists don't have an ounce of creativity to come up with something original, so they steal from someone else's success and destroy it. This movie is nothing new in today's world of entertainment where political correctness is the name of the game. The lines of good and evil are once again blurred in this unoriginal woke production. The explicitly gay characters are forced into this would-be children's film and are completely inappropriate, and they stick out like a sore thumb. Of course, the tree huggers have also added their influence to the production by steering the audience by an obvious detour through the magical world of animal activism. There was an overabundance of musical numbers, even for a musical. The musical numbers were so shallow and unremarkable, and they sounded like they were created on a Casio keyboard during lunch break. The choreography was strange and awkward. There was a lot of what I would describe as lurch dancing, just weird. That is something I never want to witness again, by the way, just to let you know. The story dragged on, and scene after pointless scene was sudden breakouts in music for no reason at all. Some clumped together and then stretches of no music for long periods of time. There was no order or structure that you would expect to see in a musical. The story dragged its way as slowly as humanly possible through scene after scene with very little forward momentum. I truly don't understand why this movie had to be so long. And then on top of that, this movie is only part one. Based on the content that I gathered from the movie, this entire story could have been told in about 15 minutes, which includes a 14-minute bathroom break. The writers went out of their way to try and manufacture an emotional response through the whole production. The whole movie was very forced. None of it was memorable. 100 years from now, no one will be watching this movie. Oz, which lives on to this day since its release in 1939. This movie's definitely not for children for reasons I have already mentioned. My review of some of the main characters. Cynthia Erivo played Elphaba, the Wicked Witch. The one thing that impressed me about her was her voice. She has a beautiful voice. It's a shame that she's wasting her talent on B movies like this. Jonathan Bailey played Prince Fliero, however you say it. Jonathan is clearly talented and brings some charm and wit to this dismal production. However, his character would seem more fitting in a Hallmark Christmas movie rather than in the Land of Oz. I think he played his role to the best of his ability, such as with a mechanic who's handed a wrench and told to go fix a car that is in the parking lot fully engulfed in flames.
Wow.
Ariana Grande could not be a poorer choice for the role of Glenda the White Witch, excuse me. Lines are blurred because you don't know who's evil and who's good in this movie. The songs that she sang were clearly outside of her comfort zone and range. Her singing reminded me of nails on a chalkboard or a cat in distress. She looked and sounded like an anorexic Disney pixie fairy who stumbled onto the wrong movie set. The amount of makeup that was used on her was distracting. She looked very sickly.
Oh, wow.
I've heard she's actually a good singer, but I'm telling you, I didn't see that in this movie. I just think she was out of character. Michelle Yeoh played Madame Morrible. Her character was boring and unremarkable. Michelle does not have a strong singing voice, and for a movie that's all about singing, she just doesn't fit in.
Wow.
Jeff Goldblum, of course, played the Wizard of Oz.
That's why you're Kenneth the Wonderful. Did you see that? That's why I changed you to Kenneth the Wonderful, like the Wizard, the Wonderful Wizard of Oz.
Nice. Jeff is a likable character, but he's one of those actors that plays himself in every movie.
Yeah.
Which is fine. But I've never seen him play a different personality based on a specific character. And he's been very successful in that role, from Jurassic Park to Independence Day, the first one, to the apartment commercials that he does. He's always the same person.
Yeah, he's Jeff Goldblum.
I think his role of the Wizard was pretty neutral. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. It was very safe. Jeff has a history as an actor and musician, which I did not know. But the number that he sang did not present him as being a strong singer. In conclusion, this production left me wondering why I just wasted almost 3 hours of my life that I cannot get back. And I am left wondering what part 2 is going to do to me.
You know, we're going to go have to see that one in theaters.
I know.
That comes out on the 21st next month.
So Dave, you might ask this question. Is there anything, Kenneth the Wonderful, is there anything that you liked about this movie?
Anything you enjoyed at all?
I'm glad you asked. There is one thing that I liked besides seeing the movie end. There was a scene in the forest that included a black horse who was ridden by Prince Fliero, and in the scene, he almost runs over Elphaba, the Wicked Witch. The horse was laughing and talking in the background the entire time. In my opinion, the writers missed a great opportunity. The movie could have been so much better if they had only made the talking horse the star of the show. And that is my conclusion to this. Other than that, I loved it.
Yeah, other than all that, all those glaringly detracting issues, you thought it was good.
Oh, yeah.
I read the book.
It was fantastic. So
yeah, I read the book back in the day. I mean, like 20 years ago. And so I grew up outside of New York City, and everyone went to go see that growing up outside of where I was growing up. They all went to New York City. Like my school had, and I don't know why my school approved this, but they had field trips to see that show with the original cast. And now if you ever get a chance, the person who plays Elphaba in the movie is a pale comparison to Idina Menzel, who's played her in on Broadway. Okay. And Ariana Grande can't hold a candle to Christine Chenoweth. If you know who these are and you're a straight man, you should probably go wash your mouth out. But
the thing is, like I said, I'm not a big fan of musicals, but I will go watch one live. I've seen plenty of them live. I've seen Mamma Mia, and I'm looking. It's like, but it's all about the characters when they're up there in front of you on stage. They can't hide anything. That's fun to watch, even if you don't even like the story. It's still fun to watch them perform, and it's impressive because if they make a mistake, you don't even know it, right? It's like they just keep going. So to me, And maybe they're just so used to doing it. But I would think, man, there's enormous pressure there because there's no safety net, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I don't mind seeing a live performance of
Sure.
just about anything, but it's
well, on the
and it would be
21st
good.
of next month is part 2, and maybe we'll have to go see that one in theaters together. But here's the caveat: you have to buy a ticket separately from me because we cannot go in together.
Oh yeah. No, that's definitely
because we might be nothing for nothing. We might be the only men in that room if we go to the theater to watch it.
Unless we bring a third guy.
Yeah, again, that's gonna have to be 3 men going in separately. Yes.
Yeah. or yeah, something like that, to where it's like, okay, well, these guys aren't together, so
it's gonna be like the person who's gonna the person who's gonna be selling the tickets gonna be like, how many hours till I'm out of here? How many hours till I'm out of here? But there won't be they'll be so busy trying to get away from work they won't be judging. It's just gonna be the internal feelings we'll get walking into the movie to see.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
see, that's coming out Thanksgiving, the week of Thanksgiving. So they're gambling that's going to make some money. Because I never saw the film, but I did watch the show, and I've listened to music for the musical, and I've read the book. It was funny. So when Ken's watching it, I was just texting him quotes from all the songs because that's what they sang. We sang those in like choir and all that stuff. And one of the songs is called Unadulterated Loathing. And I just kept quoting that at him the whole time until you finally got to that song. And it's very fitting on how you were doing. But 3 hours.
As strange as it sounds, I almost want to see the actual play now to compare,
Oh, like, yeah.
Because
well, it's a 3-hour play that they're turning into 6 hours worth of filming.
They've taken that 3 hours and they basically doubled it, right? Assuming part 2 is almost 3 hours as well. So I'm like, what? Maybe I'm thinking maybe the play makes more sense. Maybe it's more interesting because it's more condensed, like it should be.
Well, I'm trying to think who is the prince. I'm pretty sure that's either the Scarecrow or the Tin Man. And and so her sister in the wheelchair in that book in the movie.
Yeah.
Well, they actually did that. Yeah, because that's the Wicked Witch of the East. So, and then like Glinda and Glinda, she changes her name. It just makes no sense. And Jeff Goldblum is the Wizard of Oz, though. I didn't know that's who he played. That's I like Jeff Goldblum as Jeff Goldblum, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like him in every movie he's in. He's like, who's like that? There's a couple of actors like that. When they're in a movie, you're like, they're going to be good in that.
Yeah. Morgan Freeman, he plays himself.
Oh, yeah.
But again, they put him in a role that makes sense,
It's like Nicolas Cage plays himself.
Yeah, Nicolas Cage.
Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise always is Tom Cruise. Okay, that's actually not true. Sometimes Tom Cruise does act, but usually he's just Tom Cruise.
Jim Carrey has played different roles,
and he can. He can.
He's pretty good at that. There's and I remember Robin Williams. He's played the serious role. He's a better actor of serious role than I think as a funny guy, personally. Although he's funny too.
Yeah, he is. We were talking. Elena, my wife, and I were talking about Robin Williams today. It's sad that he's gone. But he was such a good actor, and he could be very dirty.
Yes,
but he could also be as clean as a whistle. And it was an audience just of children. He could make kids laugh and not say a dirty joke at all. Yeah. And he was so talented. He could do both. That's one of those actors that I know his heart condition was killing him. It's sad that he's gone, but man, his stuff still holds up.
Yeah.
So we should probably wrap this section up. But so you would you wish this movie on your worst enemies?
Depends on who they are.
Now, would you wish this movie on me?
I have a better one for you, and we're going to find out after our next review here what your movie's going to be.
You're not going to tell me now. You're going to make me wait longer.
You know what? I'm going to make you wait.
Oh,
how's that?
Just so you know, I talked with your son, and he's aware of the slate of films that I have picked out for you. I just keep adding and adding and thinking of I think Dave would enjoy this movie. Oh no. I've been adding more films. I'm not sure. I have an idea of what I'm going to do, so we'll see. But okay, why don't we move into the review of the next film we were looking at, which is The Martian.
Yes.
So this was my, something where for one time, as opposed to just you or just me watching a film, we wanted to watch a movie together. And no, we didn't. We won't watch together. We both watched the film. The Martian is a movie where Matt Damon plays a scientist who's been accidentally left behind after he was presumed dead on Mars. And it's a story on how he survives and how he's recovered from the planet and lives. Spoiler alert. And it is, I will say it is a fun movie that has a beginning and a middle and a definitive end. And so there's no like room for a sequel. It's just a satisfying end to the film. There are some things that are like you need to have for a movie to make a movie work, right? You got to do that. I read the book, and I can tell you they did cut out some stuff from the book, but there were the stuff they cut out from the book are the things that would be like, this doesn't make sense theatrically.
Okay.
Matt Damon was perfect.
Oh yeah. And he's another one that can act. You know, he can play different roles.
Just Matt Damon, but he was the character in the book was funny and awkward, and Matt Damon was successfully both funny and awkward. He was a believable astronaut and a believable botanist in this case. I was impressed. If I saw that movie in theaters when we first moved to Florida, and I think I've now watched it maybe 12 times. And I've watched it many times. I know
my second time. I can turn around and watch it again easily.
Yeah, I know it's coming. And it still makes you hold your breath.
Yeah.
Because you want him to survive. Here's a fun thing from the book. So in the movie, Matt Damon plays Mark Watney. Mark Watney is a botanist. He was sent to Mars to do planting and all this stuff. Basically, they know that they're up there and they're not really doing super important stuff. They're just there. They're like digging rocks, moving stuff around. That's
taking samples. Yeah.
They're not like, not like what Elon wants to do. And so he gets abandoned. He gets accidentally left behind, and you'll have to see how that happens. But he is a botanist, and so he has to figure out a way to feed himself. So he starts feeding himself. In the book, he has to harvest so this is what they do in the movie. He harvests the poop from the other astronauts and turns it into manure, and he grows the plants. In the book, he can only harvest his own poop. Why? Why? Because his poop has his internal guts biome. And so him growing plants with his own stuff, he actually won't get sick. But if he grows stuff with poop from other people, it'll actually make you very sick. And they go there's like a whole half a chapter on him explaining how he did it. And so in the movie, they just don't care about that. And
that's something that stuck out because I know you can't just go around doing that.
No, right? you will get it'll kill you. But if it's your own brew, so to speak, that won't kill you. That's weird. That's weird. But like the thing where he's transforming the rover into something that goes around, like when he goes to get the little 1996 lander on Mars, he drives to get that for 3 weeks in the book. He's in the thing for 3 weeks to go get it, and then 3 weeks back. And when he's going to leave the planet, he's in that thing for 2 months or so on.
Wow.
So there's a whole third of the book where he's just in the rover. But I would say it's pretty good. What did you think? I'm just nerding out, but we should probably cover some questions that people would have about is it good for kids? I would say there's language.
Yeah, there's language. There's the occasional strong language. So I would say little kids, if it were mine, I wouldn't There was one brief scene of a bear hiney that went to the screen as he's running through the living quarters. So yeah, I would be careful, little kids for sure. Teenagers, I think it depends on who they are. But other than those little things, you got to use discernment. You got to use discernment for sure. But yeah, I mean, as far as hidden agendas and stuff like that, there was really nothing there. I look at stuff like that and I see the things that I know are not accurate, like the poop thing you're talking about. And I'll just say a couple of things because I know we got to move on to the next segment. But I've been to Johnson Space Center and Kennedy Space Center, and all you hear now is talk about we're going to Mars, right? Going back to the moon first, then to Mars, and what they're going to do. And I've read stuff on this. I'm like, number one, Mars does not have a magnetic field, which means you're getting bombarded with radiation
every day.
You're going to die if you stay there very long, just like the moon. And Mars is their gravity field is 38% of what Earth's is. So you're lighter there. Again, that messes with your body. The astronauts in the ISS, the International Space Station, their blood starts pooling, their circulation starts going bad. They take on water retention, their heart starts beating irregularly. They have to deal with all that stuff. So if you're there long term in less than 1G, you're going to live a short life. So things like that kind of stick out. But obviously, you got to get past that stuff to say, well, they must have found a way to overcome that, right? They must have found a way to overcome those things. So obviously, this movie it kind of looks like it's in our time, but obviously, it's got to be like a little bit more future because we don't have. The spacecraft they had with the spinning thing where there's artificial, it creates artificial gravity. That's cool. And that's what you really would need to do a long-term trip like that.
For sure.
You would have to have something like that. And I think that's the biggest hurdle is if we go to the moon, it's like 3 days to go one way, something like that. It's like 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
And Mars is like a year.
Yes.
You have to find a way to have a spacecraft with a propulsion system and fuel system that can get you there within a week or two or less. Otherwise, one little thing goes wrong, everybody dies.
Yeah, there's no way you could do that either.
Everybody dies, right?
Yeah.
Certain functions, certain computers stop working, everybody dies. There's 1,000 things that if one little thing goes wrong, you're going to die because no one can get to you. If you're out there, 6 months down the road, it wouldn't matter because it's not like they have another one parked in the parking garage they can just send out after you. So, we've been talking about going to Mars for 60 years, and yet we still haven't done it because we don't have the system in place to do it. We don't have the technology yet. We really don't.
And I legitimately believe you and I are going to see it, though. I think we will see, and I don't actually think we're going to be that much older than we are now. I can imagine before I'm 30.
Technology is going. I would have to agree with you because 10 years ago, talk texting was science fiction.
Yeah.
And it was like, in 50 years we might, or 100 years we might see it. And then like next year it's here, Yeah,
they're talking about being back on the moon in a year and a half.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They have a plan for that.
Before Trump is out of office, he wants to be back on the moon. And already I was looking at the designs today. The Starship is designed to carry 100 people there. And I don't know if this is not really the purvey of what we're talking about on our podcast, but you know why Elon's making those robots? Because he's going to send them there first to build the base on Mars.
Well, the thing is, that's what they should just send as robots. Because who cares if they don't need oxygen, they don't need food.
Yeah,
just have them live there.
They just need power. Yeah, the thing that also, when you think about settling on places like the moon or on Mars. So I'm in the age where we're having babies. A human baby has to develop underneath exactly the gravity that's on Earth.
Right.
Because can a child develop well in 60% less gravity than we have? What will that do to the building of the child? It just, so I was listening to a podcast about astronauts on the moon. Because of the way the gravity on the moon works, and it's so little, the guy had all the fluids in his body were pooling in his legs on the moon. And it
Mhm.
literally gave him a heart complication. And many of the astronauts who were on the moon have died younger than they should because of the way their body pooled the liquids like you're talking about.
Yep.
Do you really think we don't already have people on Mars? I mean, I've read I've read on X the conspiracy theories. Okay, so let me see what you think of this one, Ken. There's a conspiracy that says that the United States already has a fleet of ships out in space, and they're like a breakaway, huh?
Starships.
Yeah. There's like a fleet of them already up there, and they're like a breakaway civilization, and there's like the whole secret part of the government is already up in space. I read it. Ran it through some AI stuff, and I was like, the AI is even like, isn't this sound kind of cool? But there's like literally no proof.
Yeah.
Like, how would they do that anyway?
Well, here's my real question. I think this is the most important question. Is this: is Mars flat?
Or you know what? I think it's probably like a donut shape.
That could be. That could be a hole in the middle.
See, now, Strandi, I agree. I'm pretty sure I know some people that were born there. See, I feel like I understand that. I feel like I understand some people who are probably born on Mars, and not just the men are for Mars, women are for Venus stuff, right? But yeah, I think so you and I are kind of like the same about this. I love space stuff. Like, I just love science fiction, you know? So probably you and I were kind of predisposed to like love this kind of movie. You know what movie we should try to watch next?
I think it could appeal to a lot of different people, though.
Yeah.
The storyline of someone being stranded like that, and it's interesting. I mean, think about what the movie was. This guy's stranded on Mars, and I think the movie was 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
What do you do? But they made it so interesting, you know, like step by step, and you felt like you're rooting for the guy, and then he has a setback, and then, oh boy, what's going to happen now? And just everything about it, it's like it just kept you on the hook the whole time. And I think that's just it's great storytelling, and I know it's from a book, but think about it. The book is even longer, right?
Yeah.
You got to keep your reader, attracted to that book about a guy who's stranded on a planet, you know?
And that's where the survival element really shines through, because, one of the type of conflicts for a story is, it's man versus man or man versus nature. And in this case, it's literally man versus nature. He
didn't have a volleyball with him. No, I was kind of disappointed.
He talked to the plants and he talked to the cameras. That's what he did.
Yeah. And he did refuse to turn the beat around. I was very excited about that.
So if you haven't seen the movie yet, there's a joke where there's like 6 astronauts, right? And only one of them thought to bring music on like what would take about 9 months to get to Mars.
Yeah, everybody else hates music.
No one else decided to bring music. Only this one person brought music, and the commander who brought the music only brought 1970s music. And so he only had 70s music to watch and listen to. Now,
disco.
And it's all disco, and it was all, I mean, it's funny, but realistically, Ken, they actually have access to the entire catalog of entertainment that Earth has ever made. I think that's on every single spacecraft. It's like, 'cause you get bored. You're like, basically, you get to work out, and that's it. And so they have like, here, you can watch. You know how we make each other watch terrible movies. They actually can choose from some good stuff. But I know they got to do that for entertainment. It was actually really funny.
Speaking of terrible movies.
Oh, is it that time?
It is that time. We have to move on to the next segment, but you need to know what your movie is next week. I stumbled across this.
Let me go.
Have you heard of? It came out in 2019 called Cats, the movie.
Oh man. Yes.
Do you know anything about it?
Taylor Swift's in it.
Okay. Have you seen anything on it though?
I heard it was terrible.
All right. You are not allowed to look it up.
Okay.
When you go, it's on Prime. It's also on Netflix, but you said you have Prime. So you need to have your wife record your reaction when you put it on to see what it actually is. Okay? That's all I'm saying.
So I have to have her.
I need your reaction, and everyone next week needs to see your reaction. If you haven't seen anything about it, you just heard of it, this is perfect. This is perfect.
I've not. I mean, I know about the theater show because I'm.
And our viewers, nobody comment on it, please. Dave needs to have the full experience of finding out what this is about when he gets to see it. So don't anybody comment, please.
Just so you know, that was like on my list for you. Just so you know.
Was it really?
Oh yeah, that was on my list for you.
I beat you to it. I found it accidentally because I was looking at something else. I was trying to make my list. I'm like, oh, what's this? So yes.
So
I'm excited to hear your review on it and then let you know how I came about this movie. So just it's going to be a good one. I think it's going to be really good. It's going to be it's going to be really good, Dave. You're going to love
Cats. Okay, well, Cats is not was on my list for you. That was like not next week, but probably 2 weeks from now. But
now you
great.
can do it.
Great. I don't know how to feel about that.
Well, you can think about that, and while you're giving us our Bible topic tonight, how's that?
Okay, yeah. So here's something we can both watch together. They just added to. You have Prime, right? I think we talked about this.
Yep.
Okay, I want you to watch, and I'll watch too, a couple episodes of Frasier from season 1.
Okay.
And tell me if that holds up, and we can go through it. I think Kelsey Grammer is one of the best actors that there is.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And so let's see in your mind, just watch a couple episodes on Prime and tell me, we can review that as our thing we watch together next week.
Okay.
And then I actually like Frasier. You know what? It is. We bought the DVD of the entire series. That's how good of a show that is.
How many seasons were there? I don't remember.
Isn't it like 8 or 9?
It's got not counting the latest ones.
Yeah, and those were good too. Those are actually really good.
I think they canceled the show though.
Yeah, they did. Paramount Plus got rid of it. So I'm being told by me, I guess somebody is on my account, that there are 11 seasons, and that's not including the original series of Cheers. Yeah, if you have Paramount Plus, you could probably even watch the reboots. They are really good. So let's do a TV show this time, and we'll get. Yes, it's me, the wife. Thanks, me, the wife. And yeah, we'll do that as our thing. So let's move into our moment that we were talking about. So we kind of like to just discuss usually apologetics, but this last week, why I went to go see a Jeremy Camp conference was because the Billy Graham Association came into town and did this big gospel evangelism event. It was really, really great. But the thing that I did to prep for it was we went into I had the church do a big thing of prayer. And so we called a big prayer stuff meetings together, and we prayed for the evangelism event. Why? Because I wanted God to save souls. You know, I'm a Christian. We're both Christian men. The one thing that this week that was happened, it happened like our vice president, JD Vance, was asked about how he could be married to somebody who's not a believer. And his honest thing was, you know what, I became a believer after we got married, and I want her to come to faith. And I was, you know, as a good Christian man, it doesn't matter if his wife is of a different faith background. Of course, he wants his wife to love the Lord. I mean, who would? He, you know, we share the faith because we love people, not because we hate them. And so, as it was William Graham, the grandson, was sharing the gospel, we prepped ahead of time by praying. And so, just want to give you guys a couple of prayer tips going forward. So, just a few things about prayer. The Bible is pretty clear about prayer, that God can understand our groanings. And so what I mean by that is, and so Ken, I want to get your thoughts on this too. Are there any time where sometime you cannot stitch together a thought for what you need to pray, and it's just like a feeling?
Yeah.
So God understands when we can't even put two words together. That doesn't mean we shouldn't try. But so God understands us so well that he can understand our deepest feelings. God is a God who can answer big prayers, little prayers, and everything in between. So one of my favorite stories about prayer is when my wife was incredibly pregnant. We're talking like 8 months in, right at the very end.
11 months in?
Oh, well, no, we never gotten there. That's like an elephant. Was it elephants have the longest pregnancy, right? Isn't it like almost a year plus? Anyway, but so she was incredibly pregnant. Like, this baby can come anytime now, and we are going out, and she would always pray for a parking spot close to the store. And you think, like, does God really got enough time to care about a parking spot? But the answer is he does. He actually does. He's God. What happens is people have such a wrong view of God that they think God's too busy to care about where you park.
Right.
Like, this is the God who made everything. Do you think he doesn't also care about the little things?
He knows the numbers of the hairs on our head. Of course, that's easy for me, but like a normal person, he knows the number. It's like he knows every detail of everybody, right? So
yeah, and of course he does, because as God, he very confidently knows how few or how many hairs you have, and he knows the names of the stars, and he put them there. And so, like, when she was incredibly uncomfortable, one of the things that was growing for me is I'm going like, why are you wasting God's time praying for a parking spot? But the reality is we're not,
right.
We're not wasting his time. He's a good father who loves his children, so he's gonna help you out. There's a story where our wives were painting. They were both painting. I think it was a dresser or something. They do that now and then. Our wives like to paint stuff, and they like to paint stuff together. And they lost a paintbrush, and so they both of them together like just stopped and prayed, and like a second later they found it. So either A, God moved heaven and earth and put the paintbrush where it was, or B, he just said, guys, it's under the chair.
I have a story like that. Well, it's not my story, but my wife has a story about that, where she lost a ring her dad had given her when she was, I think, 18, up on a mountain in New Hampshire. And she just prayed, that somehow it would be found. She was afraid that her dad would be mad that she lost it. And long story short, I think it got back to her grandmother or something. Somebody found it. Wow. And there was like an inscription on it, I guess. And I'm probably telling the story completely wrong, but I know it's something like this, to where, long story short, it got back to her. It was her class ring. And somebody found it, got it to her grandmother, and grandmother got it to her. And it's like, how, a needle in a haystack, right? Who would go through that, and it was like, she's putting it up now, almost a year later from a mountain. And she has it because she prayed. And, and then God, again, it's like the same situation. Does God really care about that? Well, yeah, he got it back to her. It wasn't like a life-threatening thing or something like that, but, God sees the details, and she's used that story to share with other people through the years. So it's also a testimony of what God can do.
And it's amazing because he cares about the little things, but also he cares about the big things too. And so, you know what? I lost my keys. God, help me find my keys. I was, this is a silly story, but this happened to me just last week. I was changing the lid on our toilet because, for some reason, toilet lids like to snap at only one handle, not at both. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
And so one of the hooks snapped. So I bought a new one and it was putting it on the toilet. And that should take about, 10 minutes if you're doing it wrong, right? So I'm unscrewing the bolts on the toilet. The one comes off, lickety split. Boom, no problem. The one on the other side, the side that snapped, the bolt broke. And then, oh, there you go. That's nice. I pray to God would help me find things all the time. I'm always losing things. That's
true.
Awesome. And so the bolt broke, and I am underneath the toilet, all wrenched around, trying to break a nut for 3 hours.
And trying not to break the porcelain on the toilet.
Trying not to break the toilet.
Yeah.
And trying to keep my cool and trying to keep my tongue and just getting angrier and angrier and angrier. And I literally had to get a pair of pliers and I stripped the bolt all the way down and I cracked the bolt, and it took me 3 hours to break it.
Yeah.
And the whole time I am just getting mad. You know, my wife, who's awesome, would come in and say, "Hey, are you okay? You okay?" And as opposed to being thankful she cares, I'll just say I was just getting mad at her for being there. Because you ever misplace anger? I have done that. I do it now and then.
Oh, yeah. I've done it many times.
It's not fair and it's not right. You know, sin. And so I literally, you know how it is. It's you never pray when you need to. You pray when you don't pray. I sometimes just don't pray soon enough.
Yeah.
And so in 2:45 minutes in, I go like, God, you need to help me do this. This is so ridiculous. And then literally, I just push as hard as I can. I snap the thing, and finally, 2-3 minutes after praying, the thing came loose. Didn't pray the 2 hours beforehand, and I just was angry and livid. I apologized to my wife. I apologized to my whole family, and I should have just asked the Lord to, like, God, help me break this thing. Please just let this be fixed fast.
I do that all the time, and I'm ashamed to say that, but where I'll get into a situation, something goes wrong with work, I have a problem with a permit, something stupid, and I get all worked up about it, and like 3/4 of the way through, I'm like, oh wait, maybe I should pray about this, right? Which I should have done that a long time ago. And it's like I do that all the time, and it's like, you know, in the moment, it's like, I don't know if it's the devil, he just wipes that out of my mind not to do. But you know, and then when I do pray, then, you know, things get taken care of. You know, it's like, it doesn't necessarily always mean it's going to happen the way you want it to happen, but, you know, certainly at least I calm down and I look at the situation, whatever it is, with a calmer mind. And oftentimes it leads to a much shorter solution, you know, an easier solution. Fun fact, the African elephant has a 22-month pregnancy time. Oof. That's the longest one.
Ooh, that's what I was thinking. Elephants were long.
That's rough.
Okay, but this is the last point I want to make about prayer. Just real simple. It's actually one of the most, I think it's simple, but I think it's one of the most important things that you'll ever learn about prayer is there is no prayer too big for God. Actually, it's a man you and I both know, and I'll tell you later. I knew a man who said, we were talking about what I call like big, hairy, audacious prayers that are God-sized prayers. We're talking about prayers that only God can do. Mm-hmm. You know how God says, like, by your faith, you'll move mountains. We're talking like bigger than that. And so there's a man, and we both know this man, who hearing this, he through a trembly voice said to me, I want to talk to my son again. And but come to find out, he hadn't talked to his son in over 20 years. And you could see he's a tougher guy, and you could start to see the little bit of water there. But there are prayers out there that are so big that sometimes we don't dare speak them because they seem like, how can God do something like this? But the reality is that he can do prayers that we won't even allow outside of the dome of our heads. You know, he does it all the time. I know women and men who have prayed, help us conceive, help us conceive, help us conceive, and boom, they get a baby. Yeah. Sometimes it's not like next week. Sometimes it's 4, 5, 10 years later. Yeah. You know? But that's what he does. He's a God who can answer prayers that are God-sized. You just need, and I just need to be bold enough to pray God-sized prayers. And I don't. So here's my problem, Ken. I want to see what you think of this. I was raised to try to be dependent on nobody. Try to do it yourself.
Right.
And while it's good to want to work hard, it's good to want to earn it, but God is a loving Father who wants to give, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so and I think this is a uniquely American issue. We're a people who work hard, and we build, and we develop, and we are independent. We try to be dependent on no one, at least people who are really of American stock.
Yeah.
And so when we're told this is free, just come to me, I think that while we would say, yes, I believe that, practically that's really hard. And so I sometimes don't want to, and this is the stupidest thing. I sometimes don't want to bother God. And God isn't a man to be bothered. And God is not somebody who wants us to, he wants to invest in us. He doesn't want us to be like, that's good. He's not the God who helps those who help themselves. He's a God who helps those who can't help themselves.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't know. For me, that's my struggle, which is no. He wants to do this. Like, he loves to do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Are you there? Or is that just a me thing? Or do you get where I'm going?
No, I think sometimes I'm like, well, I don't want to pray about this because God has better things to do, that sort of thing. I think, and we're in a country where, he wants us to rely on him. But, you think about it, there are people in other parts of the world where they don't know where the next meal is coming from.
Yeah.
We don't have that issue here for the most part, that most of us aren't worried about what we're going to have for tomorrow morning or next week or whatever. So we've kind of been conditioned to be almost like we're self-sustaining almost. So it's an illusion because God's the one providing. And if you really break it down, every one of us, there's any number of things that could go wrong where our entire level of comfort can collapse very quickly.
Sure.
If God wants that to happen. So we're under this illusion of we're self-sustaining when we're really not, and I think we have to remember that everything that we do have is from God. And, we have jobs, we have food on the table, all that stuff, that's all from God. And we can forget. I know I forget too many times to thank him for it and to be praying about things that sometimes I take for granted. And it's always like, oh, something goes wrong, then all of a sudden I'm a prayer warrior, right? But we need to be prayer warriors all the time. And that's something, just being honest, I need to work on that, every day. It's a struggle. So, because, we live busy lives and things are going along, they seem to be going along fine until something happens all of a sudden, then we start praying when we should be praying all along,
Yeah.
And I do pray every day, I pray different times of the day, but definitely not as much as I should. Right.
Yeah.
God wants us to be constant, pray without ceasing. Doesn't mean we're praying 24 hours a day. It means we're praying on a regular basis, right? Regular conversation.
We're keeping the conversation going. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
and that's one of the, that's one of the most difficult things where, if you came home and you told your wife, like, hey, look, I had a busy day today, I don't feel like talking to you. She'd probably, that would not go over well. That'd be a poor life choice. And I think I could say that on behalf of both of our wives, that would not go over very well.
It doesn't go over.
Yeah. And the same thing. Yay. But that's the thing. It's like we need to maintain conversation with the Lord. That's what it is. He, and that's the thing. Also, I think here's something that's interesting to you. Some people have had no dad or had a very bad relationship with their dad, and so because of that, they are afraid to speak to God because they don't understand him as a heavenly Father. And that
means, or you say heavenly Father, and the idea of Father is not good to them.
Yeah, that's
because
right.
of what they've experienced,
And
so
in certain communities in the United States, 90% of kids in certain ethnic communities don't have dad at home.
Right.
And so they have no idea what it means to say, hey, dear Heavenly Father, I need you for a minute. They have no idea. I think amongst white children now, it's like 40% of white kids don't have a dad at home anymore. Which that means, and that's just, I'm just going to speak to who, our background ethnically, like that's devastating.
Yeah.
And so then you're going to tell them like, hey, look, you got to pray to him because he's your father. People have a lot of father hurt there. And so they sometimes have a hard time trusting him. But, the one thing I can tell people is like, he's a good God who really does care.
Yeah.
And not to be emotive or so on. Hey, thanks for the claps there. The raise the hand up. That's awesome. That is good for us to remember that he loves us. And actually, Ken, I wonder what you think of this. When I think of him as a good father who does care, that motivates me to be a better dad. Not that we're ever going to make it to God's level, but like, how can I be for my kids in this way? And how?
And that's always a struggle when we're busy working and stuff, and then having to. That's always been a struggle for me, but being that father there for your kids, and even things like my youngest son, he's in soccer right now, so it's like getting there on Saturday for the soccer game to see him play, because these times are gonna we get one round with them and then they're grown up, and then it's like, okay, we've had our time, right? And you want to get it as much as you can doing that. So and my older two, they're grown up now, so it's like it's amazing how fast, and I'm telling you this because I'm
on the other end.
Yeah, you're in a different place. It goes by fast. It does. So
they were saying by the time your kid is 14, you have spent 80% of your time with your child. And then the rest of the 20% is the rest of your life.
Yeah. That's probably true.
Like, so you spend the most time you'll ever spend with your child is between birth and 14 years old. And then from 15 up until you are dead, that's the other 20%. And when I heard that, that's just like, that's gutting.
Yeah.
And, so you want to make the most of it. And your Heavenly Father, he wants to be he's investing in a way that like, you and I fail and all the time. I'll tell you, I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but sometimes I'll be sitting down working and I'll be like, am I just wasting my time being here? Because I could be over with them at the minute. You know? And,
I've been there.
And God
I was working 6 days a week on site, and I'm like, never seeing my kids, and I'm like, man, I struggled with that bad at the time. At the time I had to do it though, it's like, you got to pay the bills, but I'm glad I don't have that, at that degree anymore, but it's like, it's a struggle,
We'll have to talk maybe about some parent stuff in the future. I do like how I know, like we want to focus more on apologetics for this section, but like maybe if people have questions about like Christian, just like practical stuff, Ken and I will get into the theological nerd stuff too, of course.
Yeah.
But like sometimes like practical Christianity is I think, I don't know about you, I think it's incredibly lacking. Like the Monday to Saturday Christianity, some people just don't have any of that.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do at 12:01 on Sunday? What do you do?
Yeah. And I know we got to wrap up here, but that's a subject we should get into, because there's so many things that we could talk about that I don't think some people realize, some of these things, how important, they are. And as fathers, and we're the leaders, and our wives work with us on that, but God has called men to be the leaders. I know that's not popular today, but it's the truth. At the end of the day, you and I are going to stand before God and be held accountable, no matter what the world says.
Yeah.
Right? So every man that has a family is going to be held accountable for how he led, whether he believes it or not. It doesn't make any difference. So that's important, and how our kids grow up, train up a child in the way they should go. and when they were old, they were not depart from it. That's a proverb, and it's true, you know. And even in our flaws, I can look at my kids, my older two, and be like, you know, they love the Lord, and I'm like, I can't even take credit for that because that was God working.
Yeah.
You know, I can think of all the stupid things I did, but I know that God was working because, you know, my wife and I, our focus was on we want God to be first in our lives. And were we perfect about it? Absolutely not.
Yeah. Tell me
But
somebody who is.
God still used that, and we see the fruit from that. And I thank God for that. I can't, like I said, I can't take credit for that, but God is faithful in all that. So yeah, that would be a good subject to talk about in the future, you know, and people have questions, hit us with the questions. If we don't know the answer, we'll pretend that we do. So,
so this is one thing that I think that I got from you guys. I don't think you meant to teach it, or maybe you just did it. You and your wife always had your kids involved with ministry with you both. Since I've met you, like they were doing it with you. And I think that is the secret sauce of success. It's like, hey, don't just like check them in a kid's ministry and then you go and do XYZ. You guys kept them with you.
Right.
And I think that actually, by the way, you've done this in other things in your life with your kids as well, where they're doing it with you. And just watching your family, they all stick to it. And I think that's because you did like a Paul and Timothy type thing where Timothy was working along Paul.
Right.
And he got it. And so one thing, and I've seen other guys do this too, and this is I'll say this probably isn't unique to Generation X, which you're in, but I've seen a lot of Gen Xer guys will say like, hey, my son is doing this with me. And they don't apologize about it. They just bring them in. And you see like the guys who did that, their kids are all hanging in there and they're still faithful. The guys who put their kid like in children's church or just like, hey, let the kids pastor or the youth pastor take care of it. Like, I feel like they're rolling the dice, but like the people who are like, no, they're coming with me and we're doing this together. Like those people are still in it and their kids are still in it. And so that's one thing I gotta give you and your wife. That's my compliment to you guys. It's like,
well, and that's the thing, you know, you and I have both been in youth ministry and we know the frustration, and I know we need to wrap this up, but
I got time, man. I got another 13 minutes.
When the parents are not working with you, it's an uphill battle.
Oh yeah.
It's like, and then they wonder why their kids become adults and want nothing to do with God, and they act surprised. I'm like, why are you surprised? You led them that direction. You just let them go. It's not the church's job to raise the kids. It's church's job, you know, to work with the parents, you know, the youth ministry working with the parents.
Yep.
And helping, you know, the youth ministry is just not a sideline, but it's the parents are the ones that should be doing it first. Right. And so, but if the parents aren't doing it, the youth pastor will raise my kid for me. Well, they're learning from the youth pastor, but they're learning from home from you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
and if they're seeing, because the kid's going to be more prone to follow what the parents are doing.
That's right.
Than what the youth pastor is doing. That's just the way it is. And
I mean,
we've seen it, you know. And
you and I have talked about this offline, but when we were in ministry together, we get a student for 2 hours at best a week.
Yeah,
at best.
Mm-hmm.
Mom and Dad have them. How many other hours are there in a week? You know, they have over 100. And so my 2 hours, our 2 hours versus Mom and Dad's 100 plus. Whatever. And so you said the verse, train them up as they will go. You are training your child, whether you meet one, no matter what you're training your child.
Oh yeah. There's no neutrality there. You're training them either the right way or the wrong way. You're training them.
And that's the nonsense. That's the myth of the modern age, is that there's a neutral ground. There is no neutral ground.
Nope.
You're either for Christ or against him. There is nobody who's like, hey, I could take you either way. It's just not there. When you come to training up your kids, you're either on his team or you're against it. And yes, some Christians are. If you're not parenting your kids, Satan sure is.
Oh yeah.
I just let me, that scares the dickens out of me.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, he's absolutely training them. If you're not doing it, he is.
And then again, you were said it earlier, and you're just right. Men are called to lead, and if men don't lead, Satan sure will. Satan loves to lead your family.
And there's so many Christian homes, Christian parents that I've seen that have kids that grow up that want nothing to do with the things of God.
Yeah.
So there's a great, and it brings it back to in Israel, the generation that went from believers to unbelievers in just one generation. I don't remember where it is, but it's in the Old Testament. It talks about that because the older generation did not teach their kids the things of God, even though they were believers. The kids were not, because of the lack of teaching, lack of training, and it can happen. That's all you need is one generation, just like that.
You really want to get into it, like why is America in the shape that it's in? It's because there was the failure to transmit the gospel over the last 50 years.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And you could blame a lot of things, and I think there's some legitimate things that you could say, like, look, how many dudes got messed up in the Second World War? How many got messed up in Vietnam? I think that you can say that might have physically and mentally hurt some people. I think you can make that legitimate thing, but at the same time, like, those two generations largely failed to do their job.
Yeah.
And now I get it. Life is hard for everybody. But
they got out of the schools. So then the schools went, you stop the whole, and you look at the history, the point of teaching kids how to read was so they could read the Bible. That was the main original reason. And now it's like you go to public school, you're not going to get any of that, and just and that happened, I think, in the 60s when they took that out of the schools, and from there it went downhill fast, and everything's just kind of come out of there. And then parents not teaching their kids, and kids basically raising themselves, which again comes into what we see happening with the world raising them, Satan raising them, influencing them, and the results speak for themselves. It's a scary thing, and it's just that's why I say I thank God that He has done what He's done in my kids, because I could be looking at the same situation otherwise. So
well, and I think, like, again, just to circle back, my compliment to you and your wife is that you guys didn't check out, you checked in. And like, I can see the evidence, knowing, because I was the youth pastor to their kids. Let me pull back the curtain a little bit. And you can probably count, and you were in youth ministry forever too. I hate to say it, I think I can count maybe on two hands how many parents checked in.
Yeah.
And this is because this is a whole conversation, and we're gonna call it here in a little bit. But people people need to treat you pastors as a coach, or a pastor as a tutor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm there to like teach your kid how to answer like the tough theological questions. Like we talked about prayer a little bit ago. I'll help him or her get that. But I need to be filling in where you are weak if you are a parent.
Right.
Like, hey, Pastor Dave, I really can't explain how the Trinity works. Can you explain that? And that's where I go, got ya. I'm going to be there to help, be like Rocky's coach, say, hey, you can get back in the ring. But ultimately, mom and dad, they are more of a pastor to their kids than I ever will be. I'm there to help their kid through stuff that maybe, through the psychological and spiritual mentoring and, counseling. I'm there to give them the information that they can't get maybe from their parents. Maybe mom and dad just don't know like why the New Testament says this in one spot. I'm there to provide them an alternative for their, what's going on Friday night. But ultimately, and a pastor's job is to encourage and equip the sheep. That's what I'll do. But mom and dad, that's their job before it's mine.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've seen it. If it's not there, you and I, Believe me, everyone listening, Ken and I have talked about this topic, I don't know how many times.
Many times.
Where we are like going, and I can think of 3 or 4 kids that we've just, you and I were doing everything we could, and we were both saying, this isn't going to work because mom and dad aren't.
It's heartbreaking.
And
it really is, especially when the parents are just, they don't even, it's like they don't put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah.
Why does my kid want nothing to do with God now? Well, because you taught them that way.
Yeah.
You know, it's like.
So one of the things that I enjoy watching sports, but I've just got to warn parents, sports are not even number 2. They need to be number 5 or 7, maybe 10.
That is the biggest problem today in Christian homes. And this happens all the time.
Yep.
And I know they're well-meaning or whatever. Like some kids, they're playing sports because they might get a college scholarship or whatever. Okay. The verse comes to mind, though. What does it profit a man to gain the whole world but lose his soul? What is worth your soul?
Yeah.
And
you know how many kids are making it into professional sports? Less than 1%. 1% of 1%.
And it's like that has become so, and it's in and of itself, there's nothing wrong with sports.
No, they're fun.
We worship sports in this nation. We worship it.
Sure.
Even at the little amateur kid level, we worship it. And it's these parents, my kids are in 5 different sports at the same time, haven't been to church in 6 months. You got your priorities out of whack. Yep. You know, at the end of the day, what the kid, the sport you're playing, it's a game, it's entertainment. Why have we turned it into something that's so important, but yet it's not important. You can train your whole life and you can make it to an NFL team and you can win the Super Bowl, but the janitor cleaning the bathroom accomplished more than you did because his job actually had lasting meaning. All you did was entertain people by getting this funny looking football back and forth. Even when you win the trophy, what have you accomplished?
Well, if that's a Jesus loving janitor, his cleaning the toilets had more eternal impact than your godless football playing.
Yeah, I mean we worship this stuff now, and it's running rampant. You're getting me on a roll. You're getting me on a soapbox right now. Well, it's running rampant in our churches among Christian families, and they don't see that it's like you're not putting God first. You're maybe in your mind you are, but your kids are seeing you put other things before God, and that's one thing that we never allowed. Our kids were allowed to play sports. Well, we would tell the coaches from day one. We had service on Wednesday nights and Sundays. They're not going to be there Sundays or Wednesdays. You can live with that. Great. And you know what? All of them, I don't think there was one that said, no, that's not going to work. They all worked with us. Sure. It is possible.
And so for everyone who's listening, hear us real quick. This is not us being against sports. Nope. This is us. I'm thinking of, I bet you that Ken and I see 1 or 2 of the same kids in our head right now. Why? Because those kids don't walk with Jesus right now. Yep. And the reason for why it's sports that I know gets Ken going here in particular is because in the 2 cases that we share, it was because mom and dad were too invested in that, not enough in church.
Oh yeah, and I would see that over and over and over again. I see it today.
It doesn't mean it's exclusively that. There are people who whatever mom and dad make king in their life, right. That's what their kids will have as king as well.
Yeah. And the reason why we're talking about sports is because that seems to be the thing that so many people make king in their life.
Yep.
But you could take whether it's sports or video games or going to the beach or whatever, you name it, that could be whatever it is.
Yeah.
It in and of itself is not wrong. But when you put it up and make it your idol, which is what we're talking about, making an idol, then it's wrong. So
you can only have Jesus as king, and if you have something else as king as opposed to Jesus, you shouldn't be surprised what happens.
Right.
And that's the thing, and the thing that it guts me, and it guts Ken too, is when there's kids that we worked hard and we loved, and we heard their parents say, hey, help me. And we would say, of course.
Mm-hmm.
but we were working against 100+ hours of the complete opposite message.
Right.
And so just if you're out there, and I know we only have 7 people watching right now, it's good. It's good to teach your kid to be competitive. It's good to teach your kid teamwork. It's good to teach them these fun things. You know what? It's better I think it's more fun to play than it is to watch professional sports.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But at the same time, you got to keep everything in its place, because if you take Jesus off of the pedestal and you put something else, don't be surprised if that what you put on there is even more so in your kids.
Right.
That's one of Ken, I'm gonna tip my hand. I can't watch baseball because of this. I don't watch baseball at all because we kept running into it with baseball in particular, and I won't say any more than that.
Yeah.
But it's just
I can't river dance anymore.
I mean, I didn't think you could river dance before.
No, but you've got to take that stuff, set it aside, and if it trips you up, you got to get rid of it. If you can't live without it, you got to get rid of it. It's versus if you can live with it and live without it, you can work it in, but it's got to be in the background. You can't have Jesus in the background. So,
well, because then he won't be there at all. Well, hey, Ken, this again, we maybe we'll have to do things that really get our motor running about Christianity. We'll have to make a plan for that one. So I have to watch Cats.
Yes.
I think we both are going to watch a couple episodes of Frasier. I want to see how you think it holds up. And then, that'll be good. And so next week we should be back on our normal night of Thursday. And so that's Thursday the 6th. I can't believe we're already talking about November.
Got Thanksgiving coming around the corner.
I'm gonna see. I'll have to talk with my wife and see if I can get a Christmas tree up here before next week, just for you and for all our fans, our watchers. And then we're probably, and just so everyone knows, I know we've switched between Thursday and Friday. The schedule, especially during the holidays, is going to be a little bit more flexible. It's just the closer we get to Christmas, the more everything is happening. So we will keep you posted if things are going to change drastically. But for the next few weeks, we should be consistently on Thursdays unless something comes up. Now, of course, we will not be filming on Thursday of Thanksgiving.
Nope. Eating turkey.
Yeah, well, tryptophan and all that fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to a lady yesterday who said, I don't eat turkey, I ate ham. I was like, why are you wrong? But anyway, I hope everyone has a good night. Make sure you hit the like button before you head on out, and we will see you next week. Have a good night, everybody.